What's going on, guys? Zuko back with another War Within video. Hope you're all doing very well. We are going to check out Blood Decay today, and we are going to look at a dungeon I was able to do a Grim Batol Mythic Plus, tanking on the Blood Decay, and we ran the Sand Lane hero tree. You can do this as a Deathbringer too, but I think Deathbringer is honestly a little bit bugged right now. It's actually probably doing too much damage. It's a little bit insane. So I went with the Sand Lane tree just to kind of avoid blowing everything out of the water, just to see how it worked defensively, see how good it felt, and it felt good. And this is the build that I ended up running. I actually ran Blood Drinker just to try it out. I know Consumption is absolutely the better choice in Mythic Plus, but I just wanted to give it a shot and kind of try it out. Let's talk about my talents here. I'll get to the dungeon and we'll just talk about how it feels to be tanking as a Blood Decay. I want to focus specifically on the defensive side. Yes, I still was able to do some damage. I could have done more damage, but the reality is, if you're going to play a tank, in my mind, you're interested in whether or not you can survive. And I think Blood Decay has a couple of really cool changes on the talent tree. Number one, Gorfiends has kind of moved to the left a little bit, and it's got another talent under here. So CC-wise, you can get Gorfiends still, but it's kind of in the way. You can get around it if you don't want to. Like, you could go Rune Tap and improve Blood Shield. Bone Shield, sorry, if you didn't want it, and that's fine. But they added a new talent here that makes it so that enemies are now silenced for 3 seconds after you grip them in, which is kind of insane. And there's a brand new mechanic that essentially exists now with Blood Decay that has to do with gripping enemies. So how many ways do we have to grip enemies? Well, we have Gorfiend's Grasp. You have Abomination Limb, which will grab random enemies. You have 2 charges on Death Grip, so you can individually grab people. And is that it? That is it, actually, right? Yeah, 2 charges of Death Grip, A-Bomb Limb, and Gorfiends. Those are your grips. And there's a new talent here for Bone Collector that's really cool. It says when you would pull an enemy, generate a Bone Shield charge, which is really, really core and central now to the way Blood Decay plays. Of course, Bone Shield charges have been central to Blood Decay for a long time with Marrow Rend, and you get armor, and then you can get other bonuses from it as well, like a haste boost and stuff like that. But now it's actually like core and central to your gameplay to be building and spending Bone Shield charges a lot, and it's really interesting. Also, you get damage reduction whenever you would pull an enemy. The damage they deal to you is reduced by 6%. So again, very good for Gorfiend's Grasp. And then very, very good, of course, for generating Bone Shield charges, which makes you tankier. So I really like what the direction that Blizzard has gone for Blood Decay with this particular mechanic. I think it's interesting that they're all about, like, pulling enemies to get defensive bonuses. That the extra utility that you might get from, like, a Gorfiend's Grasp, which you normally would not want to take, it's actually, like, kind of worth it now to take this to get more defense, which is cool. I think that's really cool. I like that a lot. So yeah, very, very neat. That's the first big thing. The second thing is they added in a new choice node where you can choose between Blood Drinker or Consumption. I chose Blood Drinker for this dungeon. It is the single target option. I was just experimenting. I think you really want Consumption in the Mythic Plus environment, and Consumption has some really cool combos here. Causes your Blood Plague damage to occur 50% more quickly, so you can pop like Empower Dancing Rune Weapon, and then you can Blood Boil. You'll get triple Blood Boil on all the enemies because you get 2 Dancing Rune Weapons instead of 1, right? So triple Blood Boil, and then you can use Consumption, and then your Blood Boil is going to start ticking 50% faster on each enemy 3 times, and then that's going to heal you through rapid decomposition as well. So not only are you going to do a lot of damage really quickly, it's like this really cool sustain window. On top of the fact that, you know, Consumption heals you already, you get this extra bonus heal from the Blood Boil damage, which is really cool. Now, if you're thinking about maybe a Tyrannical boss week or raid, I think Blood Drinker is a really good choice because it now gives you 20% damage reduction while you're channeling and then for 5 seconds after. So this is like gonna solve a massive problem that Blood Decay has, which is on pull, you are really weak when you have not been able to build any Bone Shield charges. When you're just starting a pull, the only thing you really have is like to pop Vamp Blood or to pop Dancing Rune Weapon plus Tombstone to get like a shield and to do a bunch of damage as well. But to consume those Bone Shield charges and then get a whole bunch of get a shielding, sorry, so that you're not dying on pull. But I think now you could get another choice here in Blood Drinker for very difficult single target situations, which can often be the case on a Tyrannical week where Blood DK just runs into the boss and just dies, or he goes down to like 10% health and you're like, oh my god, or he pops Purgatory and you're like, oh no. So I like Blood Drinker and the way they've designed it. It's really cool. You get 20 additional runic power, which is cool. Consumption gives you runes, so if you want runes, runic power, you get to choose. Okay, really like that. Underneath this choice node is now a really cool new node called Carnage. Each time an enemy strikes your blood shield, the cooldown of Blood Drinker and consumption have a chance to be reset. So whichever one of these you take, you can reset them when people hit your blood shield. And now, whenever you press consumption or Blood Drinker, they will create a blood shield for you. So Death Strike isn't the only thing creating a blood shield anymore. So you can like run into a big AoE pack, hit consumption after you have your dots rolling, right? Hit consumption, get a big heal, start healing off the dots that you're doing damage with, and you're going to get a blood shield. And then when the enemies hit you, you might reset consumption because of Carnage and just press it again. And that's really cool. So love the combo here with Blood Shield and with Rapid Decomposition. I love the DR for Blood Drinker. Really good direction, I think, that they're going there. Now, Bone Storm has also changed in the sense that it doesn't consume runic power anymore. It actually consumes bone shield charges. So you can build up to 10 bone shield charges and then consume them, and it will last 1 second per bone shield charge that gets spent, and then it'll rapidly regenerate 1 bone shield charge every second that it's active. So it's like you build up to 10 bone shield charges and then you press this, and then it goes bing, ding, 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 ding. It does a bunch of damage and heals you, and then it slowly goes ding, 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 and it builds you back up again. So very interesting bone shield like mechanics that are going on now with Blood Decay, and I think it gives them a little bit more to think about besides just pressing like Death Strike. Like, I think this is cool as a little mini game that you're going to be playing. So you're pressing Abomination Limb, you're pressing Gorfreen's Grasp, or you're using Death Grip. That's pulling enemies in. That's building bone shield charges. Obviously, Marrow Rend builds them as well. You can consume them with Tombstone. You can consume them with Bone Storm, which is really cool. There's just so many different ways to play around with your bone shield charges now, which I think is really great. Love that. Really love the design there. So besides that, there's a lot of other talents that are still in here. Things like Brune Tap and Blood Tap, and then your Blood Worms, which I probably should have grabbed over there. There's your Leech from Voracious. It's all here. Billicus is still there. Red Thirst is still here. Lots of cool stuff there. So I really like the direction that Blood Decay is going. And then I run the Sand Lane tree. The Sand Lane tree is all about Vampiric Strike. When you press Vamp Blood, you get Vampiric Strike instead of Heart Strike. You can cleave this in your D&D just like Heart Strike can. It gives you a bunch of healing, and then it also builds up this Essence of the Blood Queen, which is a really big haste bonus, which is really cool. This turns Heart Strike into a defensive ability now. Vampiric Strike heals you for 3% of your maximum health. So you can get a massive amount of healing from Heart Strike now, which is pretty awesome because the biggest heal you have is Death Strike, which consumes runic power, and now you have Heart Strike, which turns into Vampiric Strike, which consumes runes. So you can like get a lot of extra healing out of that if you need to, which is neat. It's just a nice little twist on Heart Strike. So let's jump into this, and this is the opening pack. I have my triple diseases on everybody from my and then we can do Bone Storm. I don't know why the recording is so like orange and dark. That's right, I have Vamp Blood. I apologize for that. I don't think I can make it any brighter. I'll have to work on this. I actually have some weird like settings going on right now. So yeah, I don't think there's any way for me to actually make this brighter right now, but it's okay. We're just gonna push through, and I'll show you what it's like to be a Blood Decay. This team was actually really good. They did a lot of damage, which was awesome. We kind of nuked this dragon down. I was super shocked. Let me pull this next pack here, and again, I'm doing Slappy Hand, so I'm building up Bone Shield charges right now, which is awesome. I don't even have to hit Marrow Rend if I don't need to. But I do need to be like pulling enemies, so I need to probably back off a little bit to try and pull them. This is going to be something you'll have to work at as a Blood Decay. Like, you don't want to stand too close to them, or you're not actually getting the benefit of yoinking them. But if you already have 10 Bone Shield charges maxed out, then it doesn't really matter. You're good to go. And then, yeah, you know, again, I have to work on my damage. The mobility is so much better as well. Both of the hero talent trees have mobility boosts for you, but you can also take Wraith Walk as well on the hero tree. It's like, it's actually pretty good to take Wraith Walk. It's a very easy path to get through there. So that's cool. I just got a couple resets on Blood Drinker, which was kind of nice. So I Blood Drinkered on pull on one guy. So now I have 20% DR against that one enemy. It doesn't give you just 20% flat DR. Then I get a reset on Blood Drinker. And then which is really cool. And then I can Blood Drinker a different enemy. And now I actually have 20% DR on 2 different enemies. So again, I don't think this is the play in Mythic Plus. I think Consumption feels better to me, but I just wanted to play around with it and it was cool. We kill all these mobs. Then there is the Dragon RP still. I believe it's been cut in terms of its duration. It's not very long. And you get like a bunch of regular attacks you can do with this E. And then you have like empowered attacks. You get 5 empowered attacks. That's the bigger radius one. And it does a lot of extra damage. You can see we're doing like 2.5, 2.7 million damage right now to all these mobs. This starts to add up. So you do a quick little roundabout, you come back, and then you land again, and you're off to the races. The RP for the dragon thing is like 25 to 30 seconds tops. It's not that bad. So yeah, I think like there's still these moments with Blood DK where you're running in and you just lose a lot of health, and you got to be a little bit careful about that and make sure to hit like your death strike right away, unless you have like empowered rune weapon plus tombstone, or just empowered rune weapon in general, which I should have pressed here. It's just, you know, something I was getting used to, but you always do have death strike. It really is reliable, but the reality is your health will yo-yo. It's a little scary. Here's a D&D, and then I pop empowered rune weapon. I'm immediately almost dead. I got chunked down pretty hard there. I have to make sure that I'm death striking quite a bit here. We're doing 380k HPS. And then I do get another Blood Drinker. I think Blood Drinker, you know, not the play, but good on bosses here, actually. A couple boss fights where it's definitely very good. Here is the first boss. This is General Umbrus. He kind of has a new mechanic, I think, from what used to be his thing. So I'm going to show you what happens here. He basically splits the room. Here you go. You can see these lines. So he starts out with, there's 4 quadrants in the room, 4 lines. He will do 2 lines and then 2 lines, but they're random in terms of where they are. So you need to go snuggle up next to the first lines that start spawning in the safe area, like right here. Come snuggle up like right here, and then this line will go past, and then you have to get into that zone because the new ones are coming, okay? So here's the first 2 that are coming. I'm snuggling up to it. The dragon goes by. I get into that zone, and then the dragons are going to go in the middle. So you see how that kind of works. So that's the main mechanic on this fight now. And then there's like these craters that get left behind that are going to prevent you from moving from one zone to another. Like, they're very dangerous. You don't want to step on them. So that's pretty interesting mechanic. We're going to have to deal with that. There's also a tank buster that stacks up on you. You can see it. It's hitting me pretty hard. I'm just death striking as best I can. I think I popped Icebound Fortitude there, so I'm pretty good. We're doing 400k HPS. Again, it's solid. I don't remember if I'm in there. Yeah, so then I move over. You can see the dragon goes by. That's how you have to do it. Our team didn't quite understand what was happening, but that's okay. Everybody will learn this as we go. Unfortunately, we're stuck on the healing overall. I don't know if I ever change that. That's too bad if that's the case, but it is what it is. My details was being really weird, unfortunately. Our healing is super solid, though. Here's the next pack here. These guys cast an ability that will stun your allies. So this is where your grips become like a really big deal. There's a Seer Mind cast going off right here. That will single target stun one of your allies. You can kick it. You can CC it. You can grip them out of it. There's lots of ways you can do it there. I grip that guy back in. You can press slappy hands here. There's lots of ways that you can help as a Blood DK. I could have Gorfiend's Grasped here. I totally forgot I even had that ability for like half the dungeon. Here I'm healing with my Heart Strike, which has now become Vampiric Strike because I popped Vamp Blood. So it lights up on your bar, which is nice. And then it kind of looks like a huge execute when you're doing it, which is kind of cool. I like that. Next pack here are these guys on the left. They're just like a couple of mages. They do a lot of damage. Really nothing crazy. Yeah. They do the tremor that has to be kicked. And then the boss is patrolling in this like half moon crescent area. And you're going to end up pulling him eventually. If he pats into you, you're going to pull him. Now, this boss shuffles through different weapons, okay? So he has like a mace and an axe and a sword. You can see he's forging an axe. When he does that, there's an effect that happens right away. In this case, he explodes with damage, and then he's now carrying the axe, and that has additional properties now as well. He's gonna slam the tank and do a big frontal like lava. He's gonna leave behind this fiery cleave on the ground. So there you go. That's that. You don't want to hit your friends with that. I didn't know where I was aiming it, so that was my bad, I guess. Then he does a bunch of damage to you. Then he does forged swords. The forged swords is the most dangerous one on the tank, where you're just standing in front of him. So I blood drinker right now. So I have 20% DR for 5 seconds, which is pretty cool. And I'm hoping to get a reset on my DR. Now he's going to auto attack you with the swords. This can do quite a bit of damage once he does Molten Flurry. Okay, this does a lot of damage to you as a tank. You got to be like, pop a DR. I have Icebound Fortitude up again. And then I hit my Death Strike and I'm okay. Then he's going to forge the mace. He does pulsing damage again. This is where you have to run as a tank. This mace will like actually one-shot you. And he starts moving very, very slowly when he starts casting Molten Mace. Then his mace gets all fiery. And I believe if he hits you with this, it's like an automatic one-shot. So you have to kind of like kite and run away. And then he was getting really close to me and I almost died here. And then that effect ended. And now we're switching back to the axe. So as a tank, you want to pop your defensives on the sword, and then you want to run away from the mace, and then you need to try and aim the fiery cleave away from your friends. That's the idea here. So very, very cool. I like that boss fight. Again, we're back to these guys who are doing the stun on our allies. There's Sear Mind. And I don't actually get it right away there. I death grip that guy. There's another Sear Mind. I'm out of death grips, I think. Unfortunately, I did have slappy hands right now, but I didn't notice that in the time because I was just getting used to all the buttons and stuff. But again, ways that you can really contribute to helping your team here is by kicking and CCing those. Really, really big deal. Let's move on to the next room here. Death Strike doing a lot. That's a trinket, refracting resistance. Blood Shield is big. Tombstone, Bone Storm. You know, this is kind of how it typically looks. Death Strike is always huge. This is like the second last hallway. There's these guys who are berserkers, so they will they're called enforcers, but they will berserk. They're gonna gradually grow, and then they start doing incredible amounts of auto attack damage. You can see this guy's growing right here, and I'm starting to get decked by this guy. Very dangerous. So you got to be careful kind of what you do with these guys. You either want to pop a defensive or you want to just run away. I don't think they can be CC'd. They can probably be soothed. So I think this is an enrage effect. I think they can be soothed. Don't quote me on that, but I'm pretty sure they can be soothed. That's how you want to deal with those. Those are the only really big problems that you end up fighting here. Again, here's 2 more of them. They're starting to enrage and go after my mage because he's pumping 1,000,000 damage per second, and I am not. So I had to taunt him back. Unfortunately, that popped my mage's purgatory, or his cauterize, which that was my fault. That's honestly my fault. I should have taunted the guy earlier, but it is what it is. We learn. We live and learn. Here we're just fighting. Not much else going on here. These guys do regular stuff. More berserkers. We're gonna move forward. Little mini boss here. He does this cool new ability, Shadow Flame Blast. Just get out of it. Of course, you don't want to be standing in that. We work our way to the final, second last boss. Sorry. We skip those guys over here. Again, lots of damage, lots of healing. It's all good. The last 2 guys are both like lava benders. At the end here, they do this shadow lava blast, which is pretty cool. And then there's this boss, the guy that like, you can DPS this guy really quickly, and then you can jump on he jumps on the dragon and you fight him again. So look at his health bar go down. Look at how fast it's going down. Really fast. So he will summon ads. The ads will fixate people. This is something that you can help out with as a Blood DK by just gripping with slappy hands or otherwise, and just kill the ad. And then he's gonna like die and go jump on his dragon. Okay, so he gets on the dragon, he comes back out, and then the dragon has a whole bunch of like AoE cluster abilities that he starts doing, where he fills the room with these like fiery tornadoes. And I believe he does have a frontal as well. Here's the Twilight buffet. It's a buffet, but I call it a buffet. There's all the tornadoes. It gets really hectic because the ad is spawning as well, and you want to be careful what you do about that. There's that frontal I was talking about, and you rinse and repeat. This boss does not need to be brought below, like you don't kill him. You bring him to like 50% HP, I think, and then he's done. I don't know the exact percentages actually. There's the Twilight Buffet once again. AMZ is good here for your friends because there's just a lot of pulsing damage. I think we got him to about 50% there. A little over 50 maybe, and then he disappears. That's that fight. Here's the last couple of fights. This is a really big pull here. There's 6 guys. There's a berserking guy. This is kind of really dangerous. I got to be careful. So we do dancing room weapon right away, and then I get my blood boils going for some damage. If I had consumption here, this would be a wonderful consumption moment, but I don't. I death grip the seer mind. There's another seer mind going off. I have another death grip. So I'll just, oh, I think I messed it up. I didn't tab target correctly there, so I messed that up. But that's what you want to be doing. Your death grips are really important here. They're going to give you a ton of value, which is great. I'm getting autoed like crazy by the Enforcer. Very dangerous. Just death strike through it, or use your Sand Lane heart strike, vampiric strike thing. This next group of dudes, oh no, after this guy, this is a single target guy. He's going to knock you back. You don't want to get knocked off the edge by Umbral Wind. You want to get knocked into the wall, okay? Be careful where you're standing. Get knocked into the wall like a good man, okay? Like a good man, like a good tank. These guys put a stacking debuff on you. Watch my frame here. Ding, ding, ding. 3 stacks, 4 stacks, 7, 9, 10. It's nasty. It's nasty. So I think dodge tanks will have a good time with this pack. With us, we just have to kind of heal through it. Just be careful that you don't get too many stacks too quickly. I have slappy hands going. I'm yoinking people in. I'm getting bone shield charges, which is awesome. Again, I could have used Gorfiend's grasp. I just forgot it was there for most of this dungeon because I'm an idiot. These guys do a really nasty corrupt ability. I'll show you in the very last pack because there's 2 of them at the end. So there's 2 at the very end here. These 2 will like focus somebody and just corrupt them, and it just does damage. Look at this mage. It does a lot of damage on Fortify Week. They just get kind of trained down. So this is more of a healer thing. I tried to help with an AMZ to stop some of the damage that was going out. That's the only way you can really help here, but it is helpful. And that's it. Now we're into the final boss. The last boss is similar to probably what you remember if you played this guy. He will summon these like shadow rings, and then the rings will slowly encroach until they stop in an area and they create a circle. You have to be in that circle by the time they get all the way in. Okay, does that make sense? You'll see it here. This guy also summons a bunch of tentacles, which if you step on them, you will be stunned. So Void Surge is just a bunch of damage. Okay, that's nasty. And then there's tentacles that are spawning. You can't step on the tentacles or you get stunned, and then you'll be stunned in no man's land and you'll die. So you got to be careful about your positioning here. You can see the rings are starting to come in right now. The shadow rings, you can see there's a ring right over here. This is starting to come in a little bit. Okay, starting to come in, and I'm starting to gauge like, okay, where is this going to go? I think it's going to go over here. It's the rings are pushing their way in now, pushing their way in, shrinking, 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 and then boom, there we go. Now we're inside the zone, and then he's going to put 3 debuffs on allies, and you have to like make room in this circle so that you're not overlapping the debuffs. There's the debuffs right there. Be careful where you're standing. Don't overlap them. That's the entire fight. Now there's tentacles here, and you're like, I decided, okay, we're going to move because there's too many tentacles over here. Let's get out of here and fight him over here. Make some more space, right? He does a big tank slam there. That does hurt. You can just death strike it off. Not a big deal. I try to get these ads with some AoE damage, but it's kind of hard. That would have been a really great Gorfiend's Grasp moment, Zuko. Good thinking, dude. Good thinking. That would have been a great Gorfiend's Grasp, or like Slappy Hands would have been good there as well. Now, second, the circles are coming in again. I'm taking a look around. I'm like, okay, where am I going? I'm trying to help my team decide, make sure I know where I'm going so I can bring my team with me, and then they'll know where to stand. So now I've narrowed down the circle to right here. There we go. Boom. Now the boss is dead, so it doesn't matter, but that's the idea. That's the idea with that fight. So our overall numbers were pretty good. We did about 453k healing. It's Death Strike. It's Blood Shield. If you'd had Consumption here, it would have been a much better heal, I think. And then your Blood Shield would have been even better, because Consumption now creates a Blood Shield, right? So just remember that. This is kind of how it looks, guys. Your Vampiric Strike, this is awesome. This is your Heart Strike, just adding a bunch of healing for free, which is really cool. And I don't know, maybe you could spec into some Heart Strike talents that would actually be really good. Like this heals you for 0.5% of your health for each enemy hit while affected by Blood Plague. Like that's kind of cool. I don't know if Heart Strike damage buffs Vampiric Strike damage. I think it would. It doesn't make any sense why it wouldn't. So again, you could index a little bit heavier into Heart Strike if you wanted to, but it's up to you. You know, it's really up to you what you want to do. That's Sand Lane. That's Blood DK. That's the build that I ran. Those are some of the new changes in the talent tree. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. If you're a Blood DK player, I think you should be excited about the War Within. That would be my take on this. But let me know what you think. I would love to hear from all of you down there. Thanks so much again for watching. Love you all. I will see you in the next one.